What is the Electoral College? It seems so complicated. Is it really necessary? If you are unsure of these answers, here are the basics. The Electoral College began at the founding of our Constitution. Now remember, the Constitution was intentionally created in a way that was not purely democratic. Although America elects its representatives and passes new laws through a democratic process, this does not mean it is a democracy. The founders knew from history that a pure democracy, otherwise known as majority rule, does not protect an individual's rights. Instead, it can act much like a king or dictator and allow the majority to abuse its power and oppress the minority. This is why they intentionally gave us a constitutional republic and not a democracy. This is also why they gave us the Electoral College, as a safeguard to protect against a tyranny of the majority. History has proven that when 51% of the public gains control in a pure democracy, they can forever control the other 49%. By having the Electoral College, it guards against a group of people, a state, or multiple states from gaining too much power. Here's how it works. The Electoral College consists of 538 electors. The electors are equal to the total members within the U.S. House of Representatives, plus 100 senators, and 3 electors from the District of Columbia, bringing the total to 538. When it comes to the selection of electors, generally the process and procedures have been established by the political parties in each state. Once the state presidential primaries take place, the parties nominate their candidates for president. Then each party submits its official selection of electors for its nominee to state election officials. Next comes the day of the presidential elections. Voters throughout the nation go to the polls thinking they are choosing the president and vice president. But in reality, they are choosing the electors in their state, which normally don't even appear on the ballot. In most states, the candidate who receives the most votes wins all that state's electoral votes. The candidate who has the majority of the electoral votes, or currently reaches 270 votes, wins the presidency. In most presidential elections, the winner is known the morning after Election Day. However, election results don't become official until weeks later. First, winning electors for each state meet in their state capitals to vote for president and vice president. Next, they send the sealed results to Washington. Then, on January 6th, the results are read in the presence of the entire Congress, and the winner becomes official. Finally, on January 20th, the president-elect takes the oath of office as President of the United States. Many assume the winner of the national popular vote always takes the presidency. However, this is not always the case. This raises the question as to why we determine the winner with the Electoral College. The Electoral College was designed to protect against the tyranny of the majority. The majority in this case is the influence of larger populated states on Election Day, which is why the Electoral College protects the influence of the smaller states. If a national popular vote were to replace the Electoral College, America would witness the big urban centers of our large population states dominate presidential elections. In order to give the small states a say, the Electoral College caps each state's influence, proportionate to their population, with an allotted number of electoral votes. For example, California has 55 electoral votes to Wyoming's 3. Without the Electoral College, California voters could give a presidential candidate a huge victory in the popular vote. With the Electoral College acting as a buffer, no matter what the total popular vote, California's influence compared to Wyoming's remains a ratio of 55 to 3. The safeguard to cap the vote helps protect against voter fraud, whereas a national popular vote would encourage it. For example, there are safe states, which almost always vote for a particular party. This would motivate some to use voter fraud in the large safe states because they could generate larger winning margins for their preferred candidate in these states. However, with the Electoral College, states such as this would gain little benefit with massive voter fraud. No matter how many votes are counted, these states' influence on the outcome would still be capped by their allotted number of electoral votes. Even though fraud may occur today, imagine how much worse it would be if the presidential elections were determined by popular vote. This would lead to even bigger problems when considering every state has different rules concerning early voting, registering to vote, how to qualify for voting ballots, and more. Finally, the Electoral College encourages coalition building. With this process, every state matters. While campaigning, it is crucial that each candidate tours enough states and reaches a broad range of people so they receive enough electoral votes. This becomes very important in close elections. So to answer those questions, what is the Electoral College? It is a process created by our founders for electing the president and vice president. It seems so complicated. Is it necessary? Absolutely. It acts as a safeguard to protect our republic and ultimately our individual rights from the dangers of a pure democracy. Now that you have a better understanding, it's time to pass this information on to others. The more informed we are, the less likely we will repeat mistakes of the past and allow our constitutional republic to be transformed into a democracy. That would threaten the rights of everyone. All states need to stand united and fight for our God-given rights as secured by our constitutional republic. Begin by taking a stand in preserving the Electoral College.